Hey everyone, hello and welcome, Tony Bing here. For this beginner's guide video for Marvel Heroes Omega, we will have a look at Ghost Rider, and boy, this guy's attack's pretty awesome. So what we'll do in this particular video, we will have a look at his primary attributes, offensive and defensive traits, and also his resource. We'll then check out some of his costumes, have a look at his signature and ult, and then we'll finish up with some gameplay runs here. But as you can see already in this short intro, his skills really are pretty over the top and a whole lot of fun, so this will be good, this video. So here we go. Let's start off by looking at the attributes and the traits. Starting off with the offensive trait, we have Spirit of Vengeance. Now with this you gain a 15% critical hit damage bonus. The archetype is Paragon, and you also gain bonus from the strength or energy attributes. Now neither of these, with the stats you gain from them, really pull ahead of the other, so I would say stack either of them. You don't really have to worry going for one or the other, get whatever you can get the most of. For his defensive trait, we have Protect the Innocent. So with this you have health regen. The archetype is Tough, and that gives you a defense rating multiplier and also a deflect rating multiplier. Now as a hybrid hero that can go ranged or melee, when you use a melee power you gain close quarters, and that gives you an 8% damage reduction there. Now in regards to where his resource would actually be, we don't have a resource but we have a trait, and it's called Pale Rider, and the reason this is here is it is your travel power, but it's modified slightly because other heroes don't have a travel power that does damage in this way. So as you can see, when you use your travel power you leave behind a flame wake, and that's a mental damage dot there, and that's a 3-second duration as well, so that's quite interesting. Now before we do go on and look at some of the costumes, one thing I'll mention, and we'll touch on it later on in the video, is one of the unique aspects of Ghost Rider is he has mechanics where as he loses more health, or actually sacrifices some of his health, it can actually buff his damage. So that does make him really quite interesting. There's a high risk reward element to him there. It makes him quite similar to Moon Knight in that regard, but we'll cover that a bit more in the video. For now, let's check out some of his costumes. First costume we look at then is the default, and that's his modern costume, and with the update with all the chains and spikes on it now, it really does look pretty amazing. And then we have the classic costume. This is really quite a different look, but I actually really like it as well. As much as it's very different for the last one, it still looks really nice. And then finishing up, this is a bit of a divisive costume, but it's a Secret Wars one. I personally do like it, and he gets a nice little stunt bike as well with this costume. So let's now have a look at the signature and ultimate. For the signature we have the iconic Ghost Rider skill, and that would be Penance Stare. Now as you've seen just there, the actual visuals of it are a little bit underwhelming, but damage wise it really is pretty nice. Now currently we gain an execute on it, and it's 2% damage per 1% of targets missing health, but through traits we can actually increase that to 3%. So if the enemy's health is starting to go down low, hit this, you'll really burn the health down really quickly. Now with it, it's a channel skill, so you want to hold it down, and it also has Terrify. So if you are surrounded by mobs, it's actually quite useful to fire this off to give yourself a little bit of breathing space. But let's now have a look at the ultimate skill. For the ultimate we have a skill called Reaping Day. Now before we actually look at the tooltip on it, I'll just quickly mention that prior to the biggest update ever, Ghost Rider's ultimate was one where he would hop on his bike, ride about the screen swirling his chain and do an absolute ton of damage to enemies. Now that has been changed to a skill that you can actually spam as part of his regular kit, which is fantastic. But for the ultimate we now have, it's Reaping Day as mentioned, and with this you will have various pools of hellfire that erupt all over the screen, and you also get hell scythes that fly about and do mental damage as well. I personally like it, it does a lot of damage, but I know it's quite a divisive ultimate from a visual perspective because a lot of people prefer chains rather than scythes on Ghost Rider. But at the end of the day for me, it does a ton of damage and the visuals actually do look pretty great, so for me it is a winner. But let's now have a look at some actual gameplay, and what we'll do, we'll start off with more the physical side of things, and that would be using his melee chain skills. So here we go for a run through of the Shocker terminal, and as mentioned we'll be showing off the chain skills here. Now the main spender you'll be using This is Chain Lash, and this actually does bonus damage to enemies that are affected versus Hellfire. Most of your attacks will apply this, and you'll see on the tooltips just now you can actually see a good portion of them do. The next skill we look at, this is Hail from Above, which is great for getting in enemies' faces. You'll basically grab your bike, fly up in the air, there we go, we just seen it there, and slam down again with a big Hellfire explosion, and it also applies Hellfire as well there. Really nice skill. We then have Burn the Treads, where he'll kind of rev up the bike and then fire it off, and you can channel this, and this will do a mental damage dot and also apply Hellfire on hit there. Now the next skill then, we have Chain Fletch It. So with this one, actually use it, it will increase your physical damage. It's 720, but we have a trait which can actually double it, so we pull it up to in the region of 1400, which is really nice there. It's got 8 second cooldown and 8 second buff, so you can have that up all the time there. We then have Condemn. With this particular one, you pull the enemies towards you, so it's a pretty simple skill, but as a melee build it can be useful. So if you've maybe used Hellfire Above to get in their face and you're waiting for it to reset with the 8 second cooldown, you can use Condemn to pull enemies towards you so you can start hitting them there. So that combination does work really well. We then have a skill we would use once we've got all our buffs up, and that would be Judgment. Now we currently have a critical hit chance of 100% in this, however through talents we can actually change it so we get a 100% brutal strike chance on it, so that can be really nice for anyone looking to potentially build a brutal build on Ghost Rider. The final skill we look at, this is your spammable trash clearer, and this is Whirling Chain, where you just, not surprisingly, whirl the chain all around you and you take out the trash. There we go, we can actually see it there. So we're now at Shocker and we've covered all the skills, so what we'll do is we'll fire them all off to show how they all work together. You can see the Whirling Chain's good for doing damage on the boss as well as taking out any trash that may be around them as well, and the Hail from Above is great. If the enemy does an attack you need to dodge, you dodge out and then quickly jump back in with Hail from Above. And there we go, that's Shocker defeated. So that was the physical melee side of things with your chains. Next up we'll show off the ranged mental side of things, and what we'll actually cover is a skill we briefly mentioned earlier. It's the one that used to be your ultimate skill, where you jump on the bike and swing the chains, and it looks pretty amazing, so I can't wait to show this off. The first skill we look at then is actually your main spender, and this would be Hellfire Beam. Now with this you'll do extra damage to enemies affected by Hellfire. We then have Inferno, which is a great spammable AoE attack. This will apply Hellfire on the enemy, and it also makes them vulnerable to extra damage, and it's a dot as well. You can have 2 maximum areas, so this is a really nice skill. We then have an absolute fantastic one, and this is Damnation. Now through a talent we can make the area in this even bigger and the damage even more. There it is there. Incredible, I love this. It's probably one of my favourite trash clearers in the game. So it applies Hellfire, you've got the mental damage dot, and it gains a bonus from attack speed as well. We then have Flay, and this is a ranged attack where you whip the chains down and they do a big Hellfire explosion in a radius in front of you. This will knock down enemies, and also enemies take bonus damage if they have the Hellfire effects. Next up we have Chain Snare. Now with this particular one you'll throw out your chain and you'll ensnare the enemy. It does physical damage and it will actually immobilise them. It's a pretty nice animation, all the chains wrapped around them, so I like that a lot. And then finishing up, we'll look at this. Here we go, just now actually, we've got Hell on Wheels. This is amazing. This used to be his ultimate, but it's now a spammable skill. It's incredible. It's so much fun just riding about using this skill, and it does physical and mental damage there. But just as we're fighting Dr. Octopus, I'll mention something I touched on earlier, and that's the risk reward side of Ghost Rider, and you can gain that through the Infernal Contract skill that we can see on screen at the moment. So with this, you'll sacrifice 50% of your health pool. It'll be cut in half, but you gain a bonus to your damage. So you've got your critical hit chance, your brutal strike chance, your critical hit damage and brutal strike damage, and you gain a damage bonus and damage resistance as well. So it adds a very interesting mechanic to them. So overall, fantastic hero, and one that I most definitely do recommend. So I hope you enjoyed this particular video, and I'll see you all again soon for another one of these beginners guides.